So Notion recently released Notion Forms, but amongst my clients, I've been seeing that people are massively underutilizing this feature. And I think that's because fundamentally people think it's not really important or not very powerful. But if you've ever wanted to hire the best employees that you can, increase replies to your proposals, give clients an amazing onboarding experience, make Notion easier to use for your team, receive more client testimonials, then you should rethink how you're using Notion Forms. Lucky for you, in this video, I'll be showcasing 5 ways to use Notion Forms aimed specifically at agencies. If you're new here, hi, my name's Sam and I am a certified Notion consultant and I help agency owners systemize and scale their businesses. So without further ado, let's dive in. So one of the first ways we can use Notion Forms is for hiring. And you can see over on Notion, I have a complete hiring dashboard. But what I want to zoom in here is this public job posts. So what I have here is a job post that I can actually publish online for a new role. And you could do this for any of your new positions that you're hiring for. And amongst having all of the job description and advertisement for this role, at the very bottom of the page, we have an Apply Now button. And so essentially when people are online, they can come to this page, read through the material, and then really easily hit this Apply Now button. And when they do, they're going to be taken through to this form here. And this is a universal job application form. And so I can put in my details here. So I'll just quickly put my name, my email, my phone number, which I'll blur out here. And then essentially we're going to ask, which position are you applying for? And this has a link to our public job posts. So it's only the positions that we've sort of made live and that we're using for public posts. So that's fine for everyone to have access to. And so I can just link to the sales manager. And then we have a few more questions here. Who's your current employer? Let's say it's Notion. What is your current position? Let's say Notion consultant. And then finally, we have the opportunity to attach a CV here as well. And then once we hit submit, that has been sent off. And what we can also do is set up a Notion automation that can send that applicant a follow-up email. And the email would basically say something along the lines of, we have received your application. It's going to take us X number of days to reply to you. You can expect to hear from us then. What that's also done is it's added a candidate inside of our sales manager job position project page, essentially. And so you can see within here, we have candidates, and in the applied section, I have my name here, Sam Bird, that's been added to this candidate section. And so if we open this up, we can see we have all of the information about this candidate in terms of their email, their CV, their LinkedIn, the answers to those questions. And now we can really project manage this page. If we generate this, this template here, you'll now see we have an area to capture interviews and scorecards. And also we can plot them along this pipeline as someone might go from a candidate to in our shortlist, to being given a task, to being invited to an interview, and then hopefully all the way to being offered the job and accepting. And so just by having this one form, we're able to create a public post for our different positions. We're also able to create a candidate that's put into our hiring project page here, and we're able to project manage everything here for all of our different candidates and candidate interviews. So obviously this is really powerful way to use Notion. And this is a solution that you would normally have to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for if you were to get an out of the box solution, but we can make all of it using Notion and we can power it using that Notion form. The next way to use Notion Forms is actually helping your team to use Notion by creating entry points to add information into your databases. Now, this might seem slightly pedestrian, but this really helps when you're looking at things like your opportunities or your deals databases. And what typically happens for these sort of databases is that we have a lot of information that we want to originally capture. And before Notion Forms, there was no way to really encourage your team to capture all that information. So for example, if I was to just come here as a sales rep and say, I've got a new opportunity here, let's say it's for Apple, and I may know that I need to name it in a certain naming convention, but I may not, so I may leave that. I may be good enough to add myself here in these properties that are showing up, so the services and things like that. I may be adding these in here. Let's say this is 10,000. But ultimately, I may not decide to actually open up this page in full, come to the properties here and add all of the other information that I want to capture. And so now what this basically means is that Notion doesn't really become a reliable source of truth, because people are not capturing all the information that you need from them. And so a form is a great way to encourage people to do this. So what we've got here is this button that says create new opportunity. And this is actually a form that lives in a different database. And so what this allows us to do is create automations that then capture that form and send information to our deals pipeline, as well as our company database. So if I come to create new opportunity here, first of all, we've got some information here that's telling us when something is considered a new opportunity. So use this form to manually capture opportunities that aren't put into our pipeline automatically. We only consider a lead an opportunity if they have inquired directly, if they've been referred, or if they've purchased a digital product from us. So if I was coming in here and that didn't match that, then I would actually say, oh, it doesn't belong in this database. That's good to know. Then I ask all this information. So first of all, the prospect's first name, let's say it's John, their last name, Smith, job title, let's say they are the CEO, their email, so we can find john@acme.co, contact phone, so we can add their phone information in, and then finally their company name, company website. And so this is a lot of information that probably wouldn't have been captured otherwise. Company address we can add in here, AMR, and so for example, if that is something you'd like to capture, so their annual monthly revenue, let's say this number here, expected services we can tag here, expected value we can add in here, and then information that probably wouldn't be captured as well is things like lead source. So did they come through an opt-in page, a referral, ads, content? Let's say John was from an opt-in page. And then the salesperson, who's going to be the person in charge of following up this person. Let's say it's me. And so when we submit this, then the Notion automations are going to be triggered. And then eventually you'll see in this pipeline, so you can see we have this Acme code that's been added here. And if we open up this page, what you'll see is that we have all of this information that's been added. Eventually the lead source will come in. And then also what's been created is a separate company entry and that's been related to that deal. And so we have all the information about this company as well. And so what this is great at doing is, as well as adding all the information into those databases, if you do have a structure for your sales space where you have a company's database and then the deals database, normally you would have to get people to manually add both of them and then relate them together. The Notion form takes care of all of that for you. Of course, this is just one context, but you can add this to any of the databases where you want to make sure your team are adding the information in correctly. And then the other advantage to this just makes it a lot easier for your team to use, and it's a pleasure to use. So it's going to encourage them to actually adopt the system itself as well. Notion forms can also help with increasing proposal replies. So over on here, you can see in our opportunities pipeline, we have this Amazon deal in the proposal sent stage. So if we open this up and we come into the proposal itself, this is the proposal that would have been sent out to the client using a nice quick URL so they can see this in their browser. And so as well as having all this information about the proposal itself and being able to embed client testimonial videos from your clients and being able to embed a Loom video yourself so you can create a custom video to really customize it for them and create this beautiful proposal. At the very end of the proposal, we have these next steps. And this is something I haven't seen in any other sort of proposal software other than what I've been able to create in Notion. And that is a clear next step for the client to take. So the first step we have is if they're happy to sign the contract, go ahead straight away and just jump into that contract. But if they're not ready to go forward, we have some other options. The first one would be to book a follow-up call. So this is for clients that are still interested, they just didn't quite like the proposal as it is. And so they can go ahead and hit this button here. And what that will probably do is open up Calendly in a separate link. But obviously if they were in their browser, it would just go onto this as the same page. And they can now book the follow-up call with you. And that's all taken care of straight away. And then finally, if they're just outright not interested, then we can use a Notion form here as well. So we'd click this not interested. And now this is going to take us to our rejection form. And on here, it says, no longer interested in working together. Please take 30 seconds to let us know. Don't worry if you change your mind in the future, you can still work with us. And then we're basically going to capture the company name. So this was a proposal for Amazon. We're going to make sure we have their email so we can send them a follow-up email. So let's say this is Jeff. Amazon.com. And then we get to have the reason why they're no longer interested. So it may be budget constraints. It may be simply they're not quite ready, so they're quite early on in the decision-making process. They might be gone with a competitor, or the solution wasn't a good fit, or they're no longer interested in the solution. So being able to actually see why they weren't interested. So let's say it's using a competitor, and then if they like, they could add any details they would also like to share at this point as well. And when they hit submit, a couple things again are going to happen, powered by the database automation that is alongside this form. So first of all, the client is going to receive an email that's basically going to say, thank you for letting us know. Sorry to see you go. Here are some more resources for you. And you've also been added to our email newsletter. And so what that's doing is taking care of the sort of lead nurturing or the goodbye sequence there. And so you now know, at least even the clients that have said no to you, they're still going somewhere and they're still got resources and content that they can go through, so they might want to return to you. And then the second thing this is going to do is actually notify your sales lead and tell them to update the opportunity with the reason. So if we come over here in the inbox area, you can see I've got this new task that's been created that says review new submission and move opportunity to lost. So if I come over here, I can see in this new submission, I've got the form has been submitted, which is the rejection form, and it's by Amazon. And I can also see the reason they've rejected us is they're using a competitor. So I know, okay, that's why they've rejected us. So now as the salesperson, I would just come over to our opportunities pipeline. I would come over to Jeff and find the Amazon, and then I can now drag them over to lost. And what I can also do is log the reason why they were lost. So I can say they were lost because they went with a competitor, put that in here. And now all of that data is also being rolled up into all of our different Notion charts and visuals that we can see the reasons why people aren't going with us. But most importantly, what this is doing is it's stopping people from just seeing your proposals and ghosting them. Because now, even if they don't want to work with you, they have a really easy and seamless way to basically say no without having to awkwardly email you back or even get on the phone. It removes all of that awkwardness and basically gets them to actually answer and for you to get a reason why they didn't want to go ahead. Notion forms can also help your clients to receive an amazing experience while they're onboarding, which is the most critical part of, or the most critical point of the client's time with you, because it's their very first impression. And so what you can see is we actually have this entire onboarding funnel that we send to each one of our clients through Notion that takes us through all the different steps. So once they've paid the invoice, first of all, we have an onboarding video that they can watch with a summary of all the notes. Then they're taken forward to book a onboarding call with us with some notice that they need to book it from at least 1 week from today to give our team some time to prepare. And then finally, they're going to go over to our onboarding form. And during this onboarding form, we can capture any questions that we have with the client or for the client. So we just have an examples in here for you. For example, what does your business do? So explain it to us like with 5. What do you sell? Who do you sell it to? How much do you sell it for? And what's your annual revenue target? So what are some targets you're thinking about? But any information or any questions that you or your delivery team would need to start work, you can capture it in this form. And then of course we have one last button that says next steps. And based on the form being submitted, again, there is an automation that's going to send an email to the client with follow-up steps. And that's what is explained here. And we can also use Notion forms to now collect testimonials from clients a lot easier. So here we have a testimonial form that we can send off, again, as a link that they can open up in their browser. This can be embedded inside of any of your offboarding email sequences. And what we have is a welcome message that explains thank you and please either submit a written or a video testimonial. But what we also have here is some information of what to include. And this is something when I've worked with clients myself, they often struggle with is getting client testimonials of quality. Often if you ask them to record a video, or it'll be something very basic and along the lines of, it was great working with you, I highly recommend. Whereas if we have some space here, we can actually say, okay, what are the types of things we would like you to say? Well, first of all, what is the name of your company? What's your role? What problems were you facing before working with us? How did we solve those problems? What were the results? And would you recommend us? And then what I also include in my own one is an example here. So, hi, my name's Tom and I'm the CEO and founder of DigiGrowth. We are a digital marketing agency generating 1 million per year. Before working with Sam, we were struggling to break 30k MRR and our operations were a mess. I was working 14+ hour days and was constantly burnt out. Within a matter of weeks, Sam installed systems and automations in our agency that empowered us to scale and finally let me take a break. He audited and so on and so forth. And so essentially your clients can copy this formula and actually give you a testimonial that you want to receive instead of something that doesn't really say anything. So in the actual form here, we have the person's name, the rating that they want to give you, and then the option to either add a video testimonial, which they can link here, or a written testimonial. So let's just say, for example, they did have a written testimonial. They can add that in here and submit the form. And then once that is submitted, inside of our marketing team space, we have a testimonial database. And now we have this person's testimonial and then the written testimonial alongside it. Of course, if they added a video testimonial in here, we would link to here. But essentially we have a database to store this information and for the marketing team to start using within all of your different sales pages or your ads and your content. If you would like to start using Notion for your agency, as well as the forms, but also databases, automations, charts, then you should check out my Notion for Agencies video tour. We're right in the midst of making a major overhaul to the template. So if you take a look and decide to purchase it now, you'll probably get it a bit cheaper than when we put the price up after the update. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing and leaving a like. It really does help. And until next time, bye-bye.